ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। So as you know, we will be discussing the life of Sri Ramakrishna today, the first part. So we'll discuss his birth and childhood, just important incidents, and some I will narrate in a little detail. Some we shall mention in a short way, and with the help of pictures we can see that still by God's grace those places are there where Sri Ramakrishna was born, where he spent his childhood, everything is there. So I enjoyed preparing for this, and I hope you will also like it. And revered Chetananandaji's new book, that Sri Ramakrishna, A Divine Life in Pictures, that has helped me a lot. I could get many pictures there which are not available elsewhere, and some other pictures I could get from the websites of Kamarpukur and Belur Math also. So altogether about 45 or 50 pictures are there. So it really takes you back to the world in which Sri Ramakrishna lived. So let's start. But before starting the narration, I will just share what Swami Vivekananda has said about the wonderful life of Sri Ramakrishna. So it is there before you. You can see that. See his words, what he's telling. The life of Sri Ramakrishna was an extraordinary searchlight under whose illumination one is able to really understand the whole scope of Hindu religion. He was the object lesson of all the theoretical knowledge given in the Shastras. Shastras means scriptures. He showed by his life what the rishis and avatars really wanted to teach. The books were theories, he was the realization. This man had in 51 years lived the 5,000 years of national spiritual life, and so raised himself to be an object lesson for future generations. The Vedas can only be explained and the Shastras reconciled by his theory of avastha or stages, that we must not only tolerate others but positively embrace them, and that truth is the basis of all religions. This Swamiji wrote to Alasinga, and the next paragraph Swamiji wrote to Swami Shivananda or Mahapurush Maharaj. So you can see what he says. Without studying Ramakrishna Paramahansa first, one can never understand the real import of the Vedas, the Vedanta, of the Bhagavata and other Puranas. His life is a searchlight of infinite power thrown upon the whole mass of Indian religious thought. He was the living commentary to the Vedas and to their aim. He had lived in one life the whole cycle of the national religious existence in India. He was the concentrated embodiment of knowledge, love, renunciation, Catholicity, and the desire to serve mankind. So these are the wonderful words of Swami Vivekananda. Of course, we don't have the ability to really understand the significance of these words. Only Swamiji knew. He was one of the rare few, even amongst his so many disciples, to really truly appreciate the greatness of Sri Ramakrishna. So these words, what Swamiji said, we can examine in a little detail with our small intelligence through the help of Swami Sardananda's wonderful biography, that is in Bengali, Sri Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga, and has 2 English translations. So from there we can understand a little, at least, of what Swamiji said. So now let us start the narration of the important events of the life of Sri Ramakrishna, his birth and childhood. So Sri Krishna says in the Gita, when religion declines and irreligion prevails, I incarnate to establish the eternal dharma or the eternal religion. And many people believe that again that same power, God, incarnated on earth in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. So it has been said, blessed is the country where Ramakrishna was born. Blessed are the parents who took care of the divine child. Blessed are the people who have inherited his invaluable spiritual legacy. And thrice blessed are those who saw him, heard him, touched him, talked with him, and lived with him. So most of you know that Sri Ramakrishna was born as Gadadhar Chattopadhyay on 18 February 1836 in Kamarpukur, a small village 60 miles northwest of Calcutta. His father Shudiram and mother Chandramani were very devoted to God, and both had visions about their son before he was born. So they had 3 sons, Ramkumar, Rameshwar and Gadadhar, and 2 daughters, Katyayani and Sarvamangala. Gadadhar grew up in Kamarpukur and was sent to the village school where he learned to read and write, but he soon lost interest in a bread-winning education, as he called it. And just when he was 6 or 7 years old, he had his first super-conscious experience in the meadows of Kamarpukur. And when he was 10 or 11, while going to the Vishalakshi temple in Anur, he went into ecstasy again, lost outer consciousness. On another occasion, during a Shivratri festival, he was to perform the role of Shiva on stage. But as soon as he was dressed as Shiva, his divine emotions were roused, and thinking of Shiva, he, so to say, merged in Shiva and went into Samadhi and transcended the external world. So these are unbelievable incidents, absolutely divine incidents. So we will just have a small glimpse into them through some narration and photographs. So let's start from the very beginning. So parentage, about the parentage of Sri Ramakrishna. Towards the middle of the 18th century, there lived in the village of Derepur, in short called Dere village, in the district of Hooghly, Bengal, a Brahmin family of which Manik Ram Chattopadhyay was the head. Manikram was a pious and kind-hearted man, and he had 50 acres of land, so he was easily able to meet the needs of his family and also lend a helping hand to the poor and distressed of the village. In about 1775, he was blessed with a son who was named Kshudiram. So Kshudiram later became the father of Sri Ramakrishna. And Kshudiram also had two brothers and also a sister. So after the death of Manikram, the entire charge of the family devolved on his eldest son, Kshudiram, who, trained in the family tradition of an orthodox house, was eminently fitted to attend to the manifold religious and secular duties of the household. So Kshudiram was endowed with many wonderful virtues: truthfulness, contentment, forgiveness, renunciation, and other noble qualities that are considered by the scriptures to be characteristic of a good Brahmin. As far as appearance goes, he was tall and strong, but not bulky, and had a fair complexion. Following the family tradition, he had an intense devotion to Sri Ramachandra. After finishing his daily spiritual disciplines, he would pick flowers and worship Raghuvir. Only then, after worshipping his deity, would he eat. So, because of his steadfast devotion and wonderful and noble character, all the people of the village respected him greatly. So, Kshudiram spent the initial part of his life in the village of Dere. So, we can just see some photos of that village. This is the pond of Kshudiram in Dere village. You can see surrounded by greenery. This is of course a later photo, and here you can see the fields of Dere village, vast fields. Then now where Kshudiram was there, a temple has been built. That temple I will show you. This is the temple of the Dere village. The temple, I think it is dedicated to Sri Ramakrishna. So these are the photos of the village in which Kshudiram lived before the birth of Sri Ramakrishna. But he was forced to leave this village. Why? See, in 1814, an incident occurred, a very, very unpleasant and unfortunate incident. Kshudiram was called by the Zamindar of the village, Ramananda, to give false evidence in support of a case which someone had brought against the Zamindar. You see, Kshudiram was so much respected by the villagers that Ramananda thought that if Kshudiram gave evidence in his favor, then he would be sure to win the case. Nobody would doubt the word of Kshudiram. So he asked Kshudiram, in fact ordered him, that he give false evidence in support of this Zamindar's favor. So Zamindar was Ramananda was a tyrant, a very cruel person. But Kshudiram, as we know, he was such a noble person. He was a noble and fearless person of great integrity. So rather than give up truth, he was prepared to stake his all. he would not deviate an inch from the path of truth. So he refused to give evidence, even though he knew that that evil zamindar had the power to cause him harm. So now you know what happens in the world, how evil people, they torture the good people. So Ramananda actually now he filed a case against Shudiram, or false case, and won it by hook or crook. And on the basis of that, he auctioned Shudiram's land, the whole huge land. He auctioned it all and forced Shudiram to leave Dere village. So within a few days, the prosperous Shudiram was penniless and homeless. He had nothing of his own. Everything he owned had been taken by the underhanded means of Raja, that Ramananda, that evil zamindar. But still, Shudiram did not regret his actions. Such was the nobility of his character. He sacrificed his all for the sake of truth. So we can just imagine that it was not for nothing that Sri Ramakrishna, the Lord himself, was born as his son. Of course, evil never prospers in the end. So Ramananda, that evil zamindar, suffered a lot. And it is said that none of his sons survived him. He was witness to their death. So some, we can see this. These are the ruins in Dere village. These are the ruins of Ramananda's property. Another photo is there. This is also, and these are Ramananda's property, the Zamindar's property. So of course everything is in ruins now. So now there was, and of course there still is, a village by the name of Kamarpukur, not too far from Dere village. Kamarpukur is situated in the western extremity of the district of Hooghly, as we have said, about 60 miles northwest of Calcutta, or Kolkata as it is today called, on the road leading to the holy place of Puri. Puri, you know, Lord Jagannath's temple is there. So Kamarpukur is actually a cluster of 3 villages: Shripur, Kamarpukur and Mukundpur. But these 3 villages are so close together that they appear as different sections of the same village. So actually all these 3, Shripur, Kamarpukur and Mukundpur, they are called Kamarpukur. So the village was highly prosperous at that time and noted for its manifold arts and crafts, and the flourishing condition of the place is even now testified to by the ruins of its old buildings and the ruins of great walls and temples. So to give you an exact location of Kamarpukur in relation to Calcutta, we will just see some maps. So this is also field of Kamarpukur. You can see this. I will just show you the, one second. So here you can see the location of Kamarpukur. The red portion in the towards us is Calcutta, and you can see Shirampur and Tarkeshwar, and from there you can see Kamarpukur and Jairambati. They are very close together, as you know. So in relation to Calcutta, from this we can have an idea where Kamarpukur is. And another map, this also shows, this is a closer view. So you can see here Kamarpukur, Jairambati, Anur. See, this Anur is where Vishalakshi temple was there, where Sri Ramakrishna had, while going where Sri Ramakrishna had ecstasy. And Shihor, this Shihar, it is pronounced Shihor. Shihor village was Hriday's house. So from this map we can have an idea. So to this day there is no want of festivities in Kamarpukur. During mid-March to mid-April, Kamarpukur reverberates with devotional songs and worship of the goddess Manasa and Lord Shiva, and beginning on the 11th day after the full or new moon in May or June, people dance and sing the glories of Krishna continuously for 3 days. And also different religious festivals are traditionally held all year around in the houses of people, and daily worship and other rituals are performed in all of the village temples. Now, Kshudiram was evicted from Dere village, but in this beautiful village, Kamarpukur, lived Sukhlal Goswami, a very close friend of Kshudiram. So, Sukhlal Goswami had a similar disposition like Kshudiram. He was a very noble person of wonderful character. So his tender heart was rent apart when he saw Kshudiram's misfortune, and Sukhlal was extremely disturbed when he witnessed Kshudiram's predicament. Where would he go? Where would he stay? How would his family survive? So, like a true friend in need, a friend in need is a friend indeed, we know. He invited Kshudiram to settle in Kamarpukur permanently, and also offered him space to live in, huts to live in on his own land. Kshudiram thus found a heaven. Realizing that the invitation had come by the inconceivable grace of God, Kshudiram accepted it with gratitude and moved to Kamarpukur permanently. And so that Kshudiram could have his own land and manage, his family could survive by their own income, Sukhlal also gave him a half-acre rice field located in Lakshmi Jila. That photo is there of that rice field. So by the grace of Raghuveer, the land was soon producing so much rice that it was more than sufficient for the small family of Kshudiram. And the surplus was given to guests and visitors. So Kshudiram grew so prosperous slowly that he could even hire farmers to plow the land. And it is said that when the seedlings were ready, Kshudiram himself would transplant a few bunches while taking the name of Raghuveer, and then ask the farmers to finish the job. So by God's grace, Kshudiram survived this great calamity, and now we can see some photos. These are the fields of Kamarpukur, and this is the field given by Sukhlal to his friend Kshudiram, Lakshmi Jila. This is that actual field which belonged to Kshudiram. And here we see people how this planting this in this way. It is done in Bengal. It is still done in this way. So now this is the hut of Kshudiram original. It is a very old photo. Now of course everything has been changed. So fortunately this photo was still preserved. This must be how it looked when Kshudiram moved to Kamarpukur. Of course this original photo is black and white. It has been colored. So as you know, Chaitananda ji has used this photo in the cover of his book, Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. And this is a view of Kamarpukur. So tranquil, you can see. And this is Haldarpukur. Haldarpukur is the pond in Kamarpukur where everyone bathed. They had his bath. So it is, we will see this is also significant. So Kshudiram began his new life in the midst of the quiet and peaceful surroundings of this village and soon attracted the notice and gained the respect of all the people of the village. And this Haldarpukur, Sri Ramakrishna said that the people of Kamarpukur respected Kshudiram so much that when he would go and have his bath in Haldarpukur, out of respect, before he finished his bath and came out, nobody else would go and bathe at the same time. Just imagine the respect which people gave him when they saw his noble character. When he would finish his bath, then only other people would go and bathe there. So Sri Ramakrishna himself had said of his parents, about his mother, he said, "My mother was the soul of honesty and sincerity. She didn't know much about the ways of the world and was incapable of concealment." Concealment because she opened her heart to all. She was so simple. And about his father, Sri Ramakrishna says, "My father spent most of his time in worship and meditation and telling his beads. Every day while he was praying, his chest would swell and would shine with a divine radiance, and tears rolled down his cheeks. In his spare time, when he wasn't engaged in worship, he would make garlands for Sri Ramachandra. The villagers respected him as a sage." This is what Sri Ramakrishna himself says. So in course of time, Kshudiram had some wonderful visions and revelations. So first we will see how he came into possession of the Raghuvir Shila. Raghuvir Shila, you know, the family deity. Shila means piece of stone. So that Raghuvir Shila which is worshipped, Raghuvir is another name of Sri Ramachandra. So this also Kshudiram got in a wonderful divine way. Once, while returning from a neighboring village, Kshudiram strangely came into possession of this emblem of the deity Raghuvir. How? In a vision, Kshudiram saw his chosen deity Sri Ramachandra as a celestial boy, and Ramachandra, pointing to a particular spot, said to Kshudiram, "I have been there for a long time. I have had nothing to eat and no one to look after me. Take me to your house. I want very much to be served by you." And see the miracle. Shudiram, after this dream, when he went to the spot which was mentioned by Sri Ramchandra in the dream, at that very spot, he found the Raghuvir Shila. It is still there in Kamarpukur, it is still worshipped. So Khudiram went there and found the Shila and brought it to his house. And he began to worship it as his own Ishta. Ishta means chosen deity. So, see, this is the photograph of that Shila which Shudiram found. It is still very much there, and then I will show you the photos of all the family deities. See, here you can see the shrine as it is today. So an enlarged view will help. See, on this throne are Narayan Shila, Raghuvir Shila, and to the right, just beside the photo of Sri Ramakrishna, is a small statue of baby Krishna, which was worshipped by Lakshmi Didi. Lakshmi Didi, you are familiar with her. All those who have read the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So, then another photo is there, once again. Sometimes it gets stuck. I have to again open that. So this is a close-up of that throne. You can see the Raghuvir Shila, the Narayan Shila, and that small image of baby Krishna. So early in the morning, Shudiram would go and pick flowers, and it is said that goddess Shitala would herself appear before Shudiram as an 8-year-old girl. See the spiritual height on which Shudiram lived. The goddess herself would appear before him and would help him to pick the flowers by bending the branches of the blossoms. Just imagine. So both Shudiram and Chandra made a profound impression upon the villagers by their exemplary life and unswerving devotion, spirit of devotion to their beloved deity, as also by their overflowing kindness to all who came to their door for help and succor. One second, some sound is coming. Somebody is unmuted. Yeah, now it is okay. Yeah, so let me share again photos. Yeah, so now after 6 years of residence in Kamarpukur, Shudiram got his son and daughter married. Ram Kumar, that was the name of the son, in the meanwhile had become quite proficient in the Hindu lore and was able to relieve to a certain extent his father's family burden by earning a little money. So Shudiram had now more time at his disposal to devote himself to religious practices. In the year 1824, Kshudiram went on foot to a pilgrimage to Rameshwaram in South India. Rameshwaram, it is so far away, the southernmost part of India. He went all the way on foot, and this pilgrimage lasted about a year. And again, 12 months later in 1826, his wife Chandra gave birth to her second son, who was named Rameshwar. So Ramkumar, Rameshwar, and Gadadhar. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna Gadadhar had not been born yet. That was after a divine vision. So, about 11 years later, in 1835, Shudiram went on another pilgrimage, and this time to Gaya. And Gaya, there he had a divine vision. Okay, so what was the vision? Gaya temple, I'll just show you the temple to which Shudiram had gone. This is that temple, Gaya temple. So Shudiram, what did he see? One night as he fell asleep, Shudiram started dreaming. He saw himself again offering pinda to his ancestors at the holy feet of Lord Gadadhar. Gadadhar is the name of the Vishnu deity in the temple. And there Shudiram saw his ancestors in their luminous celestial forms joyfully accepting his worship and blessing him. So after gazing at them for a long time, Shudiram could not control himself. Overwhelmed with devotion, he began to weep and bowed down to them, touching their feet. And the next moment, the temple was filled with a divine effulgence. Shudiram saw his ancestors standing on both sides of the shrine in a reverential attitude with folded hands, praying to a luminous person seated graciously on a beautiful throne. He saw that the complexion of this effulgent one was green like a blade of new grass, and that he was looking at Shudiram affectionately. Smiling, the effulgent one beckoned Shudiram to draw near him. So Shudiram, as if in a daze, he walked towards that divine figure, prostrated before it, and with overwhelming devotion began to praise him with various hymns. So that divine effulgent being was very pleased and said to Shudiram in a melodious voice, Shudiram, I am very pleased with your sincere devotion. I shall incarnate myself as your son and accept the loving service you offer me in your cottage. So, direct message from God himself. So Shudiram was simply, he was absolutely overwhelmed with joy, and he thought that this must have some meaning and a divine being would surely bless his house soon. So Sri Ramakrishna also said, once my father went to Gaya. There Raghuvir said to him in a dream, I shall be born as your son. Thereupon my father said to him, O Lord, I am a poor Brahmin. How shall I be able to serve you? So Raghuvir said, don't worry about it. It will be taken care of. So all these divine things happened. So this is the temple of Gaya, and this is the inner shrine, inner deity which people worship there. And this is the footprint. It is supposed to be the footprint of Vishnu in Gaya. So not only Kshudiram, but Sri Ramakrishna's mother, Chandramani Devi, was also having wonderful visions in Kamarpukur. So one day, while standing with Dhani, village blacksmith woman, she helped Chandramani during the birth of Sri Ramakrishna. So Chandramani was standing with Dhani before the Shiva temple adjacent to her house, and there she had an extraordinary experience which she related to Kshudiram later. So that Shiva temple is still very much there, and this is that temple. This Shiva temple you can see. It is a very old photo. It has been colored. But this Shiva temple was so near Sri Ramakrishna's house at that time. So what was the experience? So Chandramani related to Kshudiram, I was standing in front of the Yogi Shiva temple and talking with Dhani. Suddenly I saw a divine light emanating from the image of Shiva. It filled the temple and rushed towards me like a wave. Overwhelmed, I was about to tell Dhani about it, but suddenly the light engulfed me and entered my body. Stupefied with fear and wonder, I fell unconscious. Later, when I regained consciousness with Dhani's help, I told her my experience. So after that, this Chandramani felt that she had become pregnant. She was with a child. So when she told Kshudiram and also told him that many people, including Dhani, did not believe that she had actually a vision. So Kshudiram said, don't worry, don't speak about your vision or experience to anybody except me. Know for certain that whatever Raghuvir shows you out of his mercy is for your good. And then Kshudiram told her that while he was in Gaya, the Lord Vishnu, Gadadhar, himself revealed to him that he would be born as our son. So thus, Kshudiram reassured Sri Ramakrishna's mother. So, this is of course an old photograph which I have showed you. Now, as the temple looks like this. It has been painted and all. So, this is the current photo. And this is the inside of that temple. This is the Lord Shiva, which is worshipped in the, it is called Jugi Shiva temple. Jugi Shiva temple. So this is the inside, and you can see a close-up. This is the Shiva, which is worshipped there. Even now, the temple stands. All of us who have gone to Kamarpukur, we have all seen that. So Kshudiram was now completely convinced that he was soon to be blessed with a divine child. And Chandramani was greatly consoled and passed her days expecting that wonderful soul, the divine soul, to grace their home. Okay. So after a few months, the very blessed hour, the most blessed hour for which Kshudiram and Chandra were anxiously waiting, at last that arrived. In the early hours of the morning of February 18, 1836, Chandra gave birth to the boy whom the world was afterwards to know by the name of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was born about 12 minutes before dawn. And just after birth, he actually slid over the floor. Dhani was there with Chandramani at that time. So Sri Ramakrishna slid over the floor and was lying in a wood burning stove. So he was covered with ashes just after his birth, just like Lord Shiva. And most surprisingly, he did not cry at all. Dhani then carefully lifted him, washed him, and saw in the light of the lamp a wonderfully handsome child who looked as if he were 6 months old. Even when newborn, Sri Ramakrishna looked like he was 6 months old. So in the meantime, a few of Chandra's friends, including Prasanna Devi was a very important figure in Sri Ramakrishna's life, and we will talk about her later. So Prasanna and some other members of the Laha family, the Laha family were very close to Shudiram family. So they had been summoned, and when they arrived, Dhani told them the good news. So at the auspicious and solemn moment before sunrise, Shudiram's humble holy cottage reverberated with the sound of conch shells, proclaiming to the world the advent of a great soul. So Shudiram himself was very well versed in astrology. So he himself made that, Janam Patri, or the horoscope of the boy, and from that he knew that the child had a wonderful future, a very great future. So now we will just see that image of that horoscope. See, this is the horoscope of Sri Ramakrishna. This is not easily available. I got it from revered Chetanandaji's book. And this is the old photo, very old photo of Sri Ramakrishna's birthplace before the temple had been built on it. This is Sri Ramakrishna's birthplace as it was years ago, maybe about 50 years ago. Now, the place, as you know, those who have been to Kamarpukur know, so now how it looks like. This is also a very old photo, the shrine, the family shrine, and this is the house in which Sri Ramakrishna lived. Now, this is now how it looks in our ashrama at Kamarpukur. To the left, you can see the family shrine, the temple of Raghuvira, and to the right is Sri Ramakrishna, where he stayed his room. And this is the place where Sri Ramakrishna was born. As you know, now a temple stands in that place, regular worship, regular arati. All those who have gone to Kamarpukur know. And this is Sri Ramakrishna's room. There you can see in Bengali it is written Shishi Thakurer Basogriho. In English it is written room where Sri Ramakrishna lived. So I had the blessed good fortune to enter this room when I had gone to Kamarpukur and also sit there for some time. And the inside view of the room, you can see this is the room from inside. This is the bed, and Sri Ramakrishna's photo you can see, mother's and Swamiji's photo you can see. So extremely holy place. So this is Sri Ramakrishna's house and it still stands by the grace of the Master. So since his very birth, Gadadhar cast a spell of fascination not only over his parents but also other relatives and neighbors. And all the relatives and neighbors could not help paying a visit to Shudiram's house whenever it was possible, just to have a look at young Gadai. The short form of Gadadhar, Gadai, as he was called. Sri Ramakrishna was called lovingly Gadai. So the years rolled on and Gadadhar became 5 years old and he began to show wonderful intelligence and memory even at this very early age. He learnt by heart many hymns to various gods and goddesses and tales from the national epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. So, of course, he was sent to school like any other boy, but Sri Ramakrishna, unfortunately, although he fortunately or unfortunately, although he had a highly developed interest in religion, he did not show much interest in book learning. Because he observed that even great people, these teachers with great degrees, only craved for money and worldly enjoyment. So he thought, I have no use for this bread-winning education. So actually, whatever time he spent in school, Gadadhar, only because of his love for his friends, so that he could be with his friends. But when he reached the age of 14, his spiritual moods had increased to such an extent that he knew that school was completely unnecessary for him. So from that time he felt his life was meant for a much higher purpose, and he would focus all his energy for that purpose only. Okay, but it is not that Sri Ramakrishna did not learn at all to read and write. So here we can see now Sri Ramakrishna's handwriting. This is a school. This is Sri Ramakrishna's school, and all of us who have been to Kamarpukur have seen this. I also had the blessed fortune to see this. These are photos of two classmates of Sri Ramakrishna, Gaya Vishnu Laha and Haradan Datta. So just imagine these persons had the great fortune to study with God incarnate. Just imagine. We can't even imagine. Just thinking about it makes, something happens. So this is the Laha Durga temple besides the school. It is very near the school. We have already seen the photo of that thatched thing which was the school once upon a time. There is a temple near that. This is Sri Ramakrishna's signature. Actually in Bengali it is written Shri Gadadhar Chattopadhyay. Below I can't read what it is written, maybe somebody can tell me afterwards. But on top it is written Shri Gadadhar Chattopadhyay, that can be read. And this is one page in Sri Ramakrishna's own handwriting. There's a long poem, Subahu's tale or something. Sri Ramakrishna copied the whole poem, and this writing still is there. It is preserved. So this is Sri Ramakrishna's own handwriting. Yeah. Okay. So now Gadadhar directed all his attention to the studies and lives and characters of the great spiritual heroes, and constant study of these subjects often made him forgetful of the world and threw him into deep meditation. So, as he grew older, he began to have ecstasies whenever his religious feelings were roused. So, soon it was found that not only religious subjects but also beautiful scenery or some touching incident was sufficient to make him lose consciousness of the outer world. And one such incident occurred which caused great anxiety to his parents and relatives. He became completely unconscious of the world. He went into such a high state. So Sri Ramakrishna in later years narrated this incident to the devotees himself when he had the first ecstasy of Sri Ramakrishna. So it is a long one, and some other narrations are also there. It will take at least, I think, half an hour, 40 minutes more. So we don't have time now. We will have to leave that for the next class because it won't be over in 5 or 10 minutes. It will take some time. Many photos are there, wonderful pictures. So let us stop now for today. Yeah. So Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.